Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on the conversation. If you're just joining us, we've been speaking with Dr. Ba, Emmanuel and Dr. Matanga on Cameroon and the soon-to-come elections and the fact that the president has recently been using social media, that's Facebook and X, to reach out to the public, especially the young people. Now, we still have Emmanuel. Emmanuel, let's come back to you. Now, rumors of President Biya grooming a successor has actually fueled fears of an undemocratic dynastic transition. You know, there are even reports of his son taking over if he doesn't win. Now, the Constitution does provide that the Senate president becomes interim if Biya cannot serve. Let me just pass this question, Emmanuel. Just please hold on. Let me pass this question to Dr. Matanga. Dr. Matanga, if you can hear me, what maneuvering within the CPDM or even the military should we expect behind the scenes as Biya ages and the succession question looms?
Thank you very much. You asked a question to my colleague, Dr. Ba. What happens to Cameroon and to the French? Let me tell you, I have been to courts. I've been to ICC. I've been every court in Africa. I've been trying to get Mr. Paul Biya brought on trial for the crimes committed in southern Cameroon. France, and I want to say it here, that the world here, France has blocked every avenue of mine, every avenue, every application that we have put in the ICC for Mr. Paul Biya, even the one where Paul Biya abducted 10 southern Cameroonian professors from Abuja and took them to Yaoundé. He blocked, France has blocked. So that's the element of the colonial master, which is mute. France has blocked every effort to take Mr. Paul Biya to the United Nations Security Council through the ICC free for all motion. ICC can move in, even if you are not a member of the United Nations Security, ICC. France refused. So that is the colonial master we talk about. The British, everybody, they know the problem of Cameroon is southern Cameroon, Amazonia. People have died there. There are women and men who have been killed, slaughtered in cold blood by Paul Biya. Thousands, over 6,000 people in prison. So coming to your question, who takes over power? There is, of course, Paul Biya and the wife and the clique that has. Do you know that the oldest man in that place, the chairman of the Senate, is 96? He's 96 years old. Even when he is walking, he has to be helped even to sit and read. They have blocked every exit, every entry, exit, everything for the younger people. Of course, Paul Biya has been grooming his son. That's okay if the son is from the French Cameroon. That is their problem within the internal dynamics of the party. But the thing is this, have the candidates and with the candidates be given free, fair, balanced, equal opportunity to air their views? The answer is no. So therefore, it is automatic. In anybody talking about the Cameroon election, which elections? Which one? These ones have already been finished. America will not say anything because it is tapping the oil. You know now the American democracy, there is nothing, my sister. Once you give them oil, minerals, timber, and the rest, they will not talk about democracy. So this is a dangerous situation. And for me, I will not keep quiet, sit down, allow the 10 Naira people to suffer and other thousands. I'm not from Cameroon, but Mr. Paul Biya, I just want to pray that your plane comes through United Kingdom and it gets a fault problem over the United Kingdom space. You will not return to your own day.
Okay.
I have documents there.
All right, Dr. Matanga. So what about talks about, his successor, his son being a successor? You're yet to answer that question.
Yes, of course, as it is, do you know what happens with this type of democracy? The Mobutu was actually, teaching someone to become the president. In our country, Uganda, yes, the son of the president, my dear friend, the younger man, has shown interest openly. He says he will be the president. This one in Cameroon, it is a hide and a seek and hide game. They are planning him. That is what France does, my sister. France plans. You remember when the man of Chad was assassinated, killed? They brought the son, Tino, and put him in power. So the French are the ones making the son the project. So the son will take over. Definitely, he will take over, but is there enough opposition to come to the streets to say enough is enough? Is there that type that will without the army?
All right. Well, you used Idris Deby Itno as an example there. Now let's come back to you, Emmanuel. In this regional context, right, how would neighboring countries and blocs like the African Union or even ECOWAS, respond to the election outcome? Do you have an idea that we're projecting now?
African Union, the neighboring country, they need to come in for support, give their total support to the country, because like the last speaker said, no doubt about it, if this election is being held again, this same man is still going to win this election. Like he said he has won the election. Like the previous question you asked, he said probably his son is like eyeing to be his successor. Even if his son becomes the president, he's still going to follow that same pattern. He's going to follow that same rule. He's going to follow that same pattern. And I think in the year 2008, from a particular magazine, this president was ranked the 19th worst dictator president in the world. So someone like that, the world has to come against him. Everyone has to come and deliver this country, Cameroon. Go through the election process. If this same president should conduct the upcoming election, no doubt about it, he's going to win, or his successor, either his son or whosoever he wants to win the election is going to. But the neighboring country, this is time for them to come to give their support to Cameroonians, because as you can see all over the internet, they are not happy about the decision. But how many people can talk? Even the journalists that they are supposed to raise a voice, they have been deactivated, they've been silent, and nobody is ready to lose his or her life. So I think the neighboring country should come for support in any area they feel they can support the country, and they should not let the people of Cameroon, they should not let their life be jeopardized. And despite the fact, no doubt about it, that they have been intimidated of their rights, journalists have been intimidated of their rights, citizens have been intimidated of their rights, citizens, a lot of people, there no job opportunities, a lot of people are lamenting over the bad economy, bad leadership situation, and so many more. So other neighboring countries, they should come out, even though they can even go on social media, they should give different hashtags, because the power of media is very, very high. You go on social media, let the world know what you are passing through. And I believe if they can do that consistently, neighboring countries and even the world at large will come in for their support. Thank you.
All right, so let's hear from Dr. Ba on what role you feel the African Union and also ECOWAS can actually play in the coming elections.
So I think, we should really understand the African Union. The African Union really cannot be more than what its members are. What I mean is that the African Union as a body, it's a Pan-African moral body. It's a body that speaks for African voice from a moral standpoint in relation to outsiders. But as a functional operational organization, it is actually very, very weak. It has no capacity. It's not able to do anything. And part of it is because its member countries are like that. So the question, I think this is an extension to what you asked my colleague here before. You just have to look at the region. So if we expect other countries in the region to speak, then you have to ask which countries actually have moral standing in terms of their government and the credibility of their political system and elections and so forth. If you do not have credibility in your own country and your own election, you cannot speak up about another person's elections and country. And that is, I'm sorry to say that we do not really have good examples in West Africa. There are very, very few, there's hardly any. So back to the point again, I think we have to really think of African political problems, Cameroonian political problems in this case, in a much more strategic and long-term way. And it requires some level of, intellect, again, at the high level. It requires some kind of level of, moral principles. It requires some sacrifice. It requires leadership that is ethical. And this is a problem for the people of Cameroon to solve. And like in other African countries, people have to stand up to these forms of abuse of power, but also not just to seek power for themselves in the similar way, to actually think of really ethical principles, a political system that is accommodative. We know the problem across African countries. It is divisive politics, mostly around ethnic and regional kind of issues. And you have to find a political system that accommodates people, and people have to be honest about that. Once you reach to that, then you can actually begin to have some kind of political stability. It doesn't make sense for somebody to want to give power to another person who is going to come and do the same thing, or who's going to do the bad things to them. So I'm sorry to say that, but we need deep political thinking that goes beyond the idea of election. You really have to ask what is elections, you have what we elect who you're representing, and so forth. And we need constitutional systems that produce inclusivity in African politics. Until that, we'll be like having these discussions all the time.
Okay, you just talked about inclusivity, and the Atlantic Council, recommends that international observers should be allowed access, unfettered access, and that security forces should refrain from intimidation. In your assessment of Cameroon, do you think that they will be willing to allow unfettered access to some of these observers?
So those things will not really happen in any meaningful way. You can have observe and so forth. Look, if somebody has been actually in power for seven times and still want more, it tells you really that they will not abide by proper elections. The elections will be rigged. I mean, we know that. The context alone tells you. I mean, a 90-something-year-old man who has been there for 40 years standing again for election, what is that? So, but again, my point really here is that this is not, we have to really think of this issue beyond just what is written in the books or the formal things. This is a problem for African countries and African people to address, and it means that we have to really go back to fundamentals and ask ourselves what is the source of our political problems and how we can resolve that. All these formalities about elections, observers, international community, none of this really addresses the fundamental problem.
Okay. Now let's hear from you, Dr. Matsanga, still on this. Do you think that there's going to be a meaningful observer mission who would be given unrestricted access, to the elections? Is that a possibility in Cameroon?
It is like a distance between us and the Mars. Paul be to allow unaffected entry of observers, unlimited observation, impossible. But let me touch the point of African Union quickly. It's dead. My sister is dead. You are talking of what? African Union is controlled by the French. The French pay us, pay our workers. We have no say. They know. If you go to the African Union, this morning I was there. I was in Addis Ababa. This morning, if you go to the African Union and find out whether they have ever documented any problem from Cameroon, in the name of God, God is watching here. Nothing. There's no African Union here. Whoever is dying in Cameroon has died for like that. Nothing is in African Union documented. There's a gentleman by name Bankore who is supposed to document all these problems from your country. He doesn't do it. Paul Robia calls them and pays them money, and that's the end. African Union is dead. Muhammad Faki used to collect cash from Paul Robia. AU, Secretary General, everybody. People go there for money and presents. This guy knows how he can keep off an opposition. Coming to the observers, some of these observers from, especially that organization Atlantic something, some of them are the same problems that Africa has been seeing for a long time. They see the truth, they don't talk the truth. They will come out, make reports, submit to their agency, collect the dollars. You know, they come for holiday sunshine and our good waters and our good, you know, ambient around Africa. But they don't say anything that changes the leadership of a rigged, a ruthless dictator like a Paul Biya. If they, observers stood up and said, no, this election was not. What's of them all, my sister, are the AU observers. They always have a template of what they write. They write, the election was free and fair, transparent. That is what the AU has been writing in Cameroon. In Cameroon itself. So the problem of Cameroon lies in two. One, give Southern Cameroon a country. English people are being discriminated. You can hold 2 million elections as long as you have annexed a territory illegally. There's no agreement on that territory. I've looked for the agreement. I've been in The Hague 200 times looking for that agreement. No agreement. My sister, there will be no peace in that region until we separate the people who are killing the English-speaking countries as Southern Cameroon.
Okay.
So this election is a sham. It's a sham. It is just something put there to unhook the international observers and the international people. If you think that there's an election,
okay.
This has already been won.
Well, all right.
By that gentleman, 93 years old. He wants God to call him before he leaves power. Oh my God, he doesn't even know where he is, my sister. He went to America and said, where am I? Where am I? Why don't you live and give chance to people? They are younger people with a younger knowledge.
Well, we're seeing similar contestants, you know, like this in Uganda and some parts of Africa as well.
We have, my sister, my country, my president is sharp. He's very sharp. Museveni doesn't, no, honestly, Museveni doesn't behave like a Paul Biya who doesn't know where he is.
All right, Dr. Matsanga. Dr. Matsanga, let's come back to...
We don't have a war. We don't have a war, but there is a war in Cameroon, my sister.
All right, well, let's hear from Emmanuel as well. Emmanuel, now we're wrapping up. So since the youth, you know, will largely decide this election, what are the likely issues that you think would dominate their conversations?
Well, thank you very much. Well, since it's the youth that will be dominating the election, what I just feel is if the youth come together as one, I feel they can project someone to be their candidate. You know, like Dr. Matanga said that, or probably I don't have said it, that we have a lot of old people contesting for positions in different countries in Africa, no, even in the world at large. Why is it that young people, young ones, they should come as one, come together as one? They are the leaders of tomorrow. It is not a must they give an old man to compete or to contest for the 8th time. It is greediness. Must you die while, as the president, while you're on the throne? You're 91. You're 92 year old, and you still want to contest. That's greedy. You have been there as a president for over 40 years. What do you want again? The youth are the leaders of tomorrow. They should go in there, support someone, and they should flush out the old men in the political system. It's time for the youth. If they keep supporting old people, old things, nothing will keep happening. Like I said the other time, insecurity bad. No job or employment. Now because you want to go for the 8th time, a 92-year-old man. It's quite unfortunate that these are the set of leaders we have in our African countries. Why will you be 92 years? Number one, your health issue is not even balanced. At that age, he is supposed to be at his house, praying that when he dies, he should see an everlasting, he should go, he should see somewhere in paradise to go, not him fighting or competing to go for another 8th tenure. You have been there for over 40 years. What do you want again? If you have not been able to change this for the last 30 years, 38 years, 39 years, is it this time you want to go?
All right.
I am very sure that by the time you compete again or you contest again, nothing is going to happen. So I think the youth should go out there, stand in one voice, and they defeat him, and let the peace, and let us have a new system of government in Cameroon. Thank you.
All right, Emmanuel, such a passionate advice. Now, let's have your final thoughts, Dr. Barr, before we wrap up in less than a minute.
So I think what the people of Cameroon need really to think here is what happens the day after the election. I think it's a given that the election is a rigged one, just by the context of somebody who is 90+ years old, seeking an 8th term in office, rule 40 years. So we know that it's an authoritarian context. It's going to be rigged. But the real question really here for Cameroon is really what happens the day after, how do they react after the election? And I think the strategy of an opposition trying to win in a power in the same system will only help a little bit, in the sense that you potentially will remove somebody who has been there for 40 years. But it will not really change the structure of the political problems in Cameroon. So my advice to the people of Cameroon would be that the civil society leaders, the opposition leaders, for them to actually have a deep thought, deep dialogue about what is the source of the political problems in Cameroon. That is to say, how it excludes different constituencies and different people. And number two, what kind of political system will actually produce the most inclusivity? And that should be the basis, and that should be the basis upon which the campaign and challenge the government. It's not just about replacing somebody, it's about changing the political system, and that needs to be done.
Okay.
It goes even beyond the question of the Anglophone people. It's, you can still have Anglophone secession and you'll still have the same problems on both sides. We saw that in Sudan and South Sudan. My point really here is that, African countries need to move towards inclusive forms of governance, when inclusivity doesn't depend on the will of a president or a person, but rather you have structural inclusivity. And I know my friends in Nigeria may not think that much, but I would urge many African countries to learn a lesson from Nigeria. A lot has been done institutionally since 1979 to where Nigeria is. As you know, it's not a perfect system, but in Nigeria, since the last restoration of democracy, kind of is like going. And number two, power is rotating between the North and the South. There's something to be said about that.
All right. Well, sadly, we'd have to wrap up this very interesting conversation. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. We've had Emmanuel Afolabi, an investigative journalist. We've had Dr. Abubakar Barr, Presidential Research Professor of Sociology in Northern Illinois. And we've also had Dr. David Matanga, an African Affairs Analyst. Thank you so much once again for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Now, that's the size of our package on The Conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do not forget to catch up on any of our missed episodes on our YouTube channel at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Until I come your way again tomorrow, on Wednesday, I'm Darshan Usman. Have a wonderful evening.